All right, Kyle, it looks like we have about half the folks here that we're thinking might join us. So I think it's safe to go ahead and get started. But just for people who are new, my name's Lena. I'm one of the folks in the admission office. Welcome to the Bishop Plus Esports event. We're excited that you were able to join us tonight. Kyle Jenkins is the coach of the esports team, and he's going to go ahead and get started with a PowerPoint. So thanks for being here.
Hello, I'm Kyle Jenkins. Give me one moment, I'm going to pull up my screen. So I'm the head coach of esports here at Ohio Wesleyan University. This has been our first year to field teams and compete across a number of different titles. We're about 6 or 7 months old now, I should think. Very excited to speak to everyone tonight. Small PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll field questions. Okay, so what are esports? So esports at the competitive level is colleges competing on a national stage across a number of different titles. We compete online and in person in NCAA equivalents. We compete for cash prizes and scholarships, which at this university are distributed among the students who participate. In terms of national leagues, there are any number of national leagues that we can choose to compete in. NACE, NECC, Philly Esports being a few samples. You may have heard of the NCAA. These are our NCAA in esports. This year we're competing in the NECC, which is the New England Collegiate Conference. In addition to competing in the NECC this year, we're looking at starting intramurals. We're hoping to do Smash Brother and FIFA intramurals next semester. Just something we're looking forward to. And if you're curious, these are our jerseys. Every student on our roster gets one free jersey every year, and seniors get a free hoodie. This year, we're competing in 5 titles at the varsity level. We're competing in Overwatch, Valorant, League of Legends, Rocket League, and Smash Brothers. We have some A and B teams, depending on how big the rosters are for each title. This fall, we're competing in Rocket League, Valorant, and Smash Brothers. Crews, I think, for Smash Brothers this semester. Next semester, we'll compete in League of Legends, Overwatch, and we'll do Smash Brothers singles. So we'll allow some of our students to compete either in singles or via crews and Smash, and that'll go all year. We offer an Esports Scholarship here at Ohio Wesleyan. We're looking for 10 incoming students every year. The scholarship is renewable every year so long as the student is on the roster. So it's up to $4,000 in value, perhaps $5,000 if you're here for 5 years. And those interested to applying for the scholarship can go to ow.edu/esports and fill out the prospective student interest form, which looks a little like this. On the right side, you'll scroll all the way down, or about halfway, and it says prospective student interest form. That's the one. Our students compete in our Esports Arena. We have 14 PCs. We purchased through iBuyPower. They've powered the whole arena. Everything is hardwired. So we have the best internet on campus in the facility. There are a number of console stations as well as PCs. Students are allowed to use the facility in between practice and competitions as their time allows. It's currently open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. Perhaps as early as next year, it could go 24 hours a day, but we're not there yet. These are a few pictures I mentioned earlier. We have 14 PCs. There are, I think, 4 varsity titles we're running on the PCs this year. And we have 2 console stations. I think it's just Smash Brothers this year is the only console title we're running. However, we are open to picking up more titles on consoles So we're not locked into competing only on PCs or only on consoles. We're also looking to maybe start some LAN events, some internal competitions. Looking forward to that. Perhaps in conjunction with intramurals starting as early as next semester. We'll have some fun prizes. Let's see. Cloud sent me some headphones. We might use those as a prize in one of our upcoming LAN competitions. Real excited about those. In addition to that, we're looking at starting up some internships, so sports management internships, social media internships. I have a number of students here tonight who perhaps could join some internships when we get them up and running. So you would complete one of these over the course of a semester and get credit in terms of education. So if you needed to pick up a few more credits, you could do it via an internship, and you would do something like run our stream or develop our social media or something along those lines. If you were interested in sports management, you could help me track individual student scores, help them improve over the course of a semester. That might be an interesting internship. So those are coming soon. Looking forward to that. In addition to that, work study position. So if you like something where you could actually earn a little bit of money while you pursue your education, we're looking into having facility staff roles as well as event staff roles. So someone interested in a facility staff role would assist me with opening and maintaining our esports arena, and someone interested in an event staff role might help with hosting or producing a LAN competition, or might help with our stream. In addition to that, there are a number of volunteer opportunities, always looking for help, perhaps coaching. Again, you could track student stats over the course of a semester. Casting, we're looking at developing our stream, but would like to get casters in there as soon as possible. There are also some opportunities to help with our social media. Our Discord needs mods, etc. But there are also transferable skills. Esports is a incredibly well-rounded industry, and it's expanding every year. If you're interested in picking up some applicable experience, there are leadership opportunities, communication opportunities, can help you better prepare for a career in perhaps the esports industry. And you can find us on Twitch, YouTube, or Discord. This is my contact information. If you'd like to email me, you can email me at kejenkins@owuu.edu. My phone number is 740-368-3137. And our website is owuu.edu/esports.
Cool. Thanks, Kyle. So if anyone in the audience has questions, now would be a really good time to send them in the chat. We have a list running and we have a Q&A. So if you want to send some of your questions in the Q&A, we can reach those in a second. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. And we can go ahead and get started with some of the questions. So we have some questions for our students that are here, and maybe Kyle can answer a couple of them as well. So we have Max, Darren, and Joel, who are all students on the esports team. And we're going to go ahead and ask them just a couple of questions about their experience and about what it's like to play esports at OU. So before we get started, I would love if you guys would introduce yourselves really quickly. So just maybe say your name and your year and what title you play on the esports team. So Max, you want to go ahead and start us off?
Sure. Hi, my name's Max. I'm a freshman at OU and I am on the Super Smash Brothers team.
Thanks, Max. Darren, you want to go ahead?
Yep. So I'm a senior at OU. I don't necessarily play on the team, but in the past I've ran my own organization and also helped advise OU to build this esports program. So I'm more of a management side, but I do play casually. So.
Thanks. And Joel.
Hi, I'm Joel. I'm a sophomore and I'm part of the League of Legends team.
Nice. So thanks for introducing yourselves. We're going to go ahead and get started with a couple of those questions. So I have my list right here. One of the questions that we get is, what do you expect from a typical practice or from a typical game whenever you're on the esports team? So if there's anyone who wants to go ahead and jump in with that one first, feel free.
I'll field that one. So our practices are going to be developing over the next several years, but for the time being, we do either internal scrims or external scrims. We look at developing fundamentals. So for instance, if that was Rocket League, we would look to do obstacle courses. If there was a shooter like Valorant or Overwatch, you would try to mix in some aim lab. And then in addition to that, we do some video review. We actually pay for a video review service. So in addition to our weekly practices, there is an online component that you can watch in your own time, which is another coach besides myself sitting in to review one of our recent competitions to help you grow and develop there as well. Typical competitions. So our typical competitions run between an hour to 2 hours, depending on title. Usually boils down to best of model. So if it was Valorant, you would play 2 maps, or you'd play 3 maps, and then the winner would be the first to 2 wins. Rocket League would be the first to 3 wins. League of Legends again would be best or first to 2 wins. So you're looking at first to a number of wins. That's our usual competition style.
Nice, thanks, Kyle. Does anyone have anything else they want to add? If not, it's okay. Cool. Oops, sorry, I just muted myself. We do have a question in the chat. They're asking, are the games showed the only games that will be played? So are the games that, Kyle, that you showed in your presentation the only games that will be played next year?
So we are looking at picking up more titles. As the program develops, we will pick up more varsity titles as time goes on. We are also exploring avenues to pick up new titles. We're discussing perhaps forming clubs, a number of other options. Nothing set in stone yet, but we're not locked into 5 titles. We just are running 5 titles this year due to it being our first year. As the program develops, we will pick up more titles. And if you're passionate about a title, there's a very good chance you could come here and we could start up a team together.
Awesome, thanks. Another question might be, how do I join esports at OWU? So maybe we could hear from Joel and Max about how you were able to join the team.
Sure, yeah. So my experience joining was I got an email some point late last year that said that like OWU was opening up this esports position and that they'd hired someone. That's how I first had heard about Kyle. And I shot him an email and I said that I was interested. As far as going forward, it's actually incredibly simple. As soon as you come to campus in Welch Hall, that's where our Esports Arena is located. You can come on in and come talk to us. Max and I are both there frequently, and so is Kyle. And if you express interest, and let us know. And as long as you're, staying active and everything, then you're good.
I had much the same experience. I emailed Kyle and was in the Discord. There's a Discord, join the Discord if you're interested. And I just chatted with everyone. I met Joel through the Discord before I even became a student. And that's how we're friends. So just be engaged and involved, and then register with Kyle when you get here if you choose to come to OWU. And it's that simple.
Thanks, Kyle. Do you feel like there's anything you need to add on that?
I would encourage students, if you're interested in pursuing the scholarship here, you again fill out the prospective student interest form. Beyond that, if you're interested in joining the team in perhaps a less competitive capacity, you could just email or call me and we could discuss it from there. I would say this next year, we're looking to get a little bit more competitive. So for the time being, students are held to a standard of basically participating and attending practices and attending competitions, but that will become more competitive as time goes on.
Thanks. So you mentioned scholarships briefly. Could you explain maybe what you're looking for in a scholarship applicant, what that process looks like?
Absolutely. So we do 10 scholarships to incoming students every year. I would say for the time being, I'm looking at students who are willing to play a variety of different titles to have perhaps fill out our roster in some areas where we aren't as robust as other titles. Beyond that, a student would need to be willing and reliable in terms of attending practices and attending competitions. I want someone who is going to contribute to the program in a substantial manner and participate again in practice and competitions.
Thanks. So we did talk about before kind of the weekly time commitment, what a game or what a practice looks like. But would anyone want to speak on what a season of esports looks like, or maybe how your seasons differ based on the titles that you play? Kyle, you want to go ahead and jump in?
Sure. It's funny because Joel is actually on our League of Legends team, which hasn't started their first season yet. They'll start their first season next semester. So in terms of seasons, we pick up generally in, I'd say September, I think are most of our first games. We'll play through November. Depending on how well we do throughout the season, we might go to finals, which might be in person or might be online, depending on what division we are in our NCAA equivalent. Finals are usually held in Vegas. So that would be an interesting situation if we ever ended up having to travel somewhere. Yeah, I think that's we have competitions generally once a week for each team, and finals around the middle of the semester and the very end of the semester.
Thanks. So speaking of titles and the different times that you play, are students allowed to play more than one title, or are they limited to just one?
Students are allowed to play more than one title as their time allows. I would generally encourage students not to take on more than 3 titles just because there's a bit of a substantial time commitment. If you look at picking up 1 title per long semester, I found students can be incredibly successful with that. I would encourage, again, no more than 3 titles per long semester.
Great. I'd love to know what, if you need to bring a controller or if you can play with PC and a controller, what does that look like? If any student wants to speak on that, that would be great too.
So I know a few people in the Overwatch team that, learned to play on console and have been playing on console this whole time. And they bring their own controller into the arena and hook it up. We have USB hubs, so it's pretty easy to just plug it in and start playing. The same goes for Rocket League, especially Rocket League. For Smash Bros, we have a few Pro controllers and GameCube-esque controllers, but I brought my own GameCube controller and adapter, and that's been serving me well. There also, every PC has a keyboard and mouse, but you're also welcome to bring your own. Again, the USB hubs are very useful, and every setup has a headset, but you're also welcome to use your own. So use your own peripherals. It's recommended if it's what you're comfortable using.
Thanks. Are there any rank requirements to be on the team?
I would say probably not through next year. I would say through next year, at least, we're looking at building up our rosters a bit more. And then in the years to come, we'll look at adding on to our team via rank. But for the time being, as long as you are interested in being an active member of the team, interested in attending all of our practices and competitions, we're happy to have you.
Nice. And kind of along with that, are there any tryouts for the team?
There are not currently tryouts. Again, we're looking to fill up our rosters a little bit more. I'd say we will probably have tryouts going forward, perhaps in 2024 or 25.
Great. So outside of esports, I'd love to know, are you able to participate in other athletic events on campus or opportunities, or what other, are you able to have time to be involved in other student commitments? Does any student want to speak to maybe other things that they do outside of just esports?
Yeah, I can speak to that. As far as other athletic commitment goes, we actually have several members of our Valorant team who all run track. Several members of our Rocket League team, funny enough, all play soccer. Um, and some of our Smash players are on the swim team. So you're more than able to be flexible on that. Oh, it's one of our things we pride ourselves on. I'm relatively active on campus. I'm pretty involved in a whole host of different clubs and stuff. I'm involved with Greek Life on campus. I'm the chair of the DEI office for Greek Life. So I make sure that everything's diverse, equitable, and inclusive. Also a value that I try to bring with me wherever I go. And it's something that we really like to do. We always say at OWU, and I think that the esports team is definitely a part of this, that do as much as you can let yourself get away with. Don't try and overcommit yourself. And it's something that we're never going to be like, oh, you can just do this one thing. No, we actually want you to really grow, really be involved in a lot of stuff. And so everything's set up in that way.
And I can add a little bit more. I think this is a little bit different from the question, but I think that in terms of applying skills, I think that you could even do an internship on like social media or broadcasting or something like that, and actually transfer that to an internship that's outside of the OWU. So I know a lot of people that do that, and intern for different startups or different companies in Ohio. So that could be another route that you can take.
That's great. Thanks, Darren. That was actually the next question I was going to ask, was what are some transferable skills that you feel like you've gained through esports? So Darren, the things you mentioned are awesome. Does anyone else want to mention anything else that they feel like was transferable from their experience?
Yeah, I can actually bring up a funny story real quick. We had a member here in part of the Greek Life organization that I'm part of, who graduated a couple of years ago and is now going to be helping us with Overwatch. He started his own esports little organization just right outside of Kansas City. And now he's been able to sort of do a lot of stuff, and he's now coming back to help us with certain things. So we, pride ourselves in that OWU connection.
That's awesome. Thanks, Joel. Kyle, do you want to add anything about transferable skills from esports?
I think they covered most of it. I would mention again, perhaps just to build on what Darren said, in the past, my interns have gone on to work for casting. They've done some productions work. It's very easy to roll skills you earn here into other organizations and opportunities.
Yeah, and I guess I have one more thing to add about, I guess, transferable skills is I think as you kind of go into career, I think that networking is really important. And I think, especially in a digital age and esports, like meshing electronic games with sports, I think that you're able to bring those skills of networking digitally to whatever job that you want. Just because, at least from my experience, I've been able to learn how to use social media like LinkedIn to be able to find internships and jobs. And so that's directly from my experience from esports.
Thanks for sharing that, Darren. I think that's really important to mention. That was great. So the last question before we move on to our Q&A, and we do have some Q&A questions that haven't been answered yet, is what is your favorite part about being involved on the esports team and in the organization? So Max, do you want to start with that one, and then we'll work our way back?
Sure. So I've kind of taken the lead on the team, and I've run a few practices, kind of in, I wouldn't say necessarily as the coach, but in a coachy position, and helping everyone learn and get better in a way that I don't think they have before has been my favorite part. Just getting them to see their blind spots and seeing them grow has been like incredibly rewarding, not only for me, but I can see it in them as well, that they're just so happy to be going further than they thought they would.
Thanks, Max. Darren, do you want to speak onto that?
Yeah, I guess the most favorite thing is like just being able to, I guess, going off of what Max said, it's really promoting those people that really shine and that really need that I guess, boost either in confidence or just the spotlight to really show what they can do. So,
Thanks. Joel?
I think my favorite part about esports program is really twofold. Of meeting a whole bunch of people who play this game. That's been a really special part of my life for better part of 5 years now. I've been playing League for a very long time. And just like meeting friends, like esports is the reason that I met my best friend, like Max. I met my bowling partner through esports. There's a whole bunch of just random little connections that you'll make. And like Darren said, networking is really a fantastic thing, but the friendships that you make and the connections that you make and just playing games with people is just really a fun time. And I think that that's definitely been my favorite part.
Thanks. Kyle, do you want to share about why you like esports too?
I got to agree with Darren. I think esports gives people a chance to shine when perhaps they might be a little too focused on their studies. There's a chance to socialize. I really enjoy all the opportunities we get to provide our students, and I'm just glad I got the opportunity to do that.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to some questions from prospective students in the audience. So the first question, which we already answered, which was our games, show the only games that will be played. Let's see, the next question is, I'm interested in being on the social media side of the OU Esports team. How could I join?
So even if you're interested in perhaps a bit more administrative or operational opportunities like our social media or perhaps stream team, which is yet to be developed, I would still encourage you to apply for the Esports Scholarship. There is a section where you can do that. Beyond that, I would encourage you to contact me either via email or phone or Discord. We can talk about some of the opportunities we could set up during your time here. I think it's important to build a portfolio of work. I think that's an asset that you can certainly develop as a part of our team. So yeah, I would encourage you to contact me, and if you're interested, apply for the scholarship.
Great. You may have already answered this one through that question, but in one of the forms, in addition to the games, it listed administration. Can you talk more about that?
Sure. So one of the things we're looking at developing is a stream team. So if you want to be a caster, you want to help with the stream production, for the time being, we're doing the best we can, but we're a very new program. We're only several months old. So there's definitely room for growth there. I think that could lead into some production opportunities later on. In addition to that, there are opportunities to help me coach. So again, you can track student stats over the course of a semester. You could research some teams we are going to be competing against, help us form strategies. I'll need to set up comps, competitive lineups of our team. You can help me decide which students I'm going to run for which competition. So that's a bit more sports management operations, or social media. If you want to take some photos, help drive our recruitment efforts, maybe film recruitment video, that would be helpful. I know Max and Joel have recently pitched maybe doing a charity stream. So all of that kind of goes into that portion of the form.
Great, thank you. So moving down, it says, so someone's asking about, they're considering Ohio Wesleyan, and they're wondering, how should I best prepare for the esports team before I start? Maybe a student could answer this in terms of what you experienced in high school.
So when I was a senior, I was considering OU. It wasn't necessarily my top choice. There's another contender. And I just made sure to get all my cards on the field. I emailed Kyle and everything just in case. That's what the direction I went, and that's what I would do. Just make the connection. If you end up going to another school, you end up going to another school, but at least you said your piece and didn't not say anything.
I'd say, yeah, one of the important things would be like, if you can, and well, if you want to, reach out and engage, especially through the Discord server. People are typically pretty active in there. And if you have any questions or if you want to talk about anything regarding the school, that's a perfect place to do it. Everyone there is very happy to answer any questions that you're going to have. We mostly have current students there, but there are also some potential students in there. So we're of course more than welcome to answer any questions they have, and more than welcome to welcome in more. And you can always engage with some people on the team. People are more than willing to do little scrims and play and do things like that. So if you're interested in that, that'd be great.
Thank you. All right.
I might
so,
add on to that one.
go ahead,
just
Kyle.
a little
Yeah.
bit. In preparation for joining esports here, I would encourage you to check out some of our past streams and some of our past competitions. You might see a way to fit into the team or prep for the team. And a quick example of that, in Valorant, if there's an operator you think would be an asset to us, you could develop that ahead of time. I would also encourage you to get ranked in whichever title you would like to compete in if you are not already ranked.
Thank you. So someone asked about being a junior, which we already kind of covered that. Here's a really good question. So do I have to maintain a certain GPA to stay consistent on the team?
Yes, this year we haven't been able to roll out GPA requirements, but I will have that up and running by this coming fall. So all students incoming into 2023 will have GPA requirements. It will probably be a 2.0 for 2023, 24. And then beyond that, we'll see how the program evolves and develops.
Thank you. And let's see, what's another good one? Oh, someone's asking about they hope to go pro one day, and they were wondering if this esports team would help them reach that goal.
So in terms of going pro, depends on title you're looking at. There are a number of different factors to consider. I think, for instance, Smash Brothers might be one of the easier titles to go pro insofar as Game Arena, which is a secondary esports facility, is in our vicinity, not only at Hillard, which is a city somewhat close to us, but also Columbus. So you could do competitions through me, you could do competitions through them, build up a portfolio to send to a team. There are also a number of opportunities through which you might be scouted if you compete throughout the area. In terms of going pro, generally speaking, that's the avenue I would most recommend, but there are other ways you can go, and that would have to be a further conversation at another time.
Yeah, I also want to add to that. I think that in terms of either going on your own, the amateur route, to go pro, or college, I think that college just offers a lot more structured way of how to get to pro, because the name of the university just adds a lot of legitimacy to your resume when you're trying to try out for pro teams. So I want to add that too.
Thank you. And we have our last question. So if anyone else wants to type a question really quickly in the Q&A, now is your chance. But the last question that someone would like to know is, excuse me, what if the game that you want to play is only available for one semester? So the season thing, how do they still stay involved in the team whenever their game isn't being played at that time? So maybe Joel, do you want to speak to this? Because I know that yours isn't in season right now.
Yeah, I was about to say I'd be happy to speak to this because we're in our off season. So the way that we do it for all those things, and I can specifically speak to League, is we meet on Saturdays because that's our practice day. We meet from 3 to 5. Whoever shows up is who shows up. Typically, we have about 5 to 7 players who are showing up consistently. All of us will talk, play a couple of games, try and sort of build that team aspect. So that way there's a little bit better communication. We know each other's habits a little bit more, things like that. And so that way when the season comes around, we're going to be even more prepared to double down, and we're going to be hitting the ground running. If it's flipped, if your thing is in the fall, or if your game is in the fall, and if your off season is in the spring, you all play together in the fall, and then you can all still get together in the spring and still do that exact same thing, do further that team building, further practice. You can improve your rank, get better, which we highly encourage. And so that way you can just continue doing the thing that you love. So for me, it's been really fun sort of getting to know the team. I didn't know any of them coming in. It was all completely brand new faces to me. And we all sort of get to know each other now, and we're all very friendly. And it's all very nice.
Thanks, Joel. Kyle, you want to mention anything?
Yeah, if I could build off of that just a little bit. Even though the titles we're running might be sectioned off into semesters, we may still look at doing standalone invitationals. I know for Overwatch, we're looking to do an invitational next month, which would just be our college versus another college, best of 3, just to allow some students an opportunity to compete during their off season.
Great. So we received one more question, and I think this is about the time we have. We only have about time left for this one. And it says, should I bring my own PC to my own dorm room? Any thoughts?
I brought mine because I use it all the time. That's for my own personal gaming needs. I have a Switch in my dorm too to practice Smash Bros. But the arena is always open, or open from 10 to 10. Those hours will probably change, but you always have the facility. So if it's like a detriment to you to bring it, or it's very difficult for you to bring it, consider the possibility that you could just come to the arena. But I brought my computer not for any esports reason. I just brought it because I was going to bring it anyway.
Great. Thank you. All right. Well, it was really nice to have all of you visiting today and listening about our esports program for our Bishop Plus event. We have a couple more Bishop Plus events throughout the rest of the fall. So if you're interested, you can visit the website to learn more. But if you have any questions or concerns, definitely feel free to reach out to Kyle. He's a great resource. And we'd love to hear from you if you are interested. So Kyle, is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap up?
No, really appreciate everyone for coming out. Excited to work with everyone.
Great. Thanks. Have a good night.